dark secrets, twisted minds, unsolved mysteries. The world is full of stories that send shivers down your spine, cases that leave behind more questions than answers, and crimes so chilling they defy belief. Here, we dive deep into the shadows, uncovering the shocking details, the hidden motives, and the search for justice. From the infamous to the forgotten, we leave no stone unturned. Welcome to Shadowed Mysteries, where the truth is darker than fiction. Are you ready to enter the mind of a killer? Subscribe now and step into the world of true crime like never before. Welcome back to Shadowed Mysteries, where we explore some of history's most chilling mysteries. Today, we're diving into one of the most infamous cold cases of all time, the legend of Jack the Ripper. In 1888, a series of brutal murders terrified the streets of Whitechapel, London. The killer was never caught, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and endless speculation. So grab your coffee, turn off the lights, and let's uncover the haunting story of Jack the Ripper, a mystery that still fascinates us over 130 years later. To truly understand the case, we need to step back to Victorian London, a city divided by stark contrasts between wealth and poverty. On one side, there were the opulent mansions of Mayfair and Kensington, where aristocrats held lavish parties and enjoyed lives of luxury. On the other side, there was Whitechapel, located in the East End, a district plagued by overcrowding, unemployment, and crime. It was here, in the summer and fall of 1888, that 5 women, Marianne Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly, were brutally murdered. These victims shared similar circumstances. They were poor, vulnerable, and worked as prostitutes to survive. Their deaths were marked by extreme violence, with their throats slit and bodies mutilated in ways that suggested surgical precision. The press dubbed the killer Jack the Ripper, a name that quickly became synonymous with fear and brutality. Whitechapel in the late 19th century was a place of despair. The Industrial Revolution had brought massive changes to England, but not everyone benefited. For many residents of the East End, life was a daily struggle against hunger, disease, and exploitation. Housing conditions were abysmal, with entire families crammed into single rooms in dilapidated buildings. Alcoholism and prostitution were rampant, and crime thrived in the shadows. It was within this bleak environment that Jack the Ripper emerged, preying on some of society's most marginalized individuals. Marianne Nichols was the first victim, found on August 31st, 1888. Her body was discovered in Bucks Row, now Durward Street, her throat slashed twice and her abdomen mutilated. She was 43 years old, separated from her husband, and struggling to make ends meet. Just days later, Annie Chapman met a similar fate. Found in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street, her body showed even greater signs of violence, including the removal of her uterus. Annie was 47, a mother of 3 who had fallen on hard times after separating from her abusive husband. Elizabeth Stride was killed on September 30th, though her death was less severe, possibly because the killer was interrupted. Known as Long Liz, she was 44 and originally from Sweden. On the same night, Catherine Eddowes became the 4th victim, her face slashed and organs removed. She was 46, intelligent and well-read, despite her circumstances. Finally, on November 9th, Mary Jane Kelly was found in her room at 13 Miller's Court, her body almost unrecognizable due to the level of mutilation. At just 25, she was the youngest of the canonical victims and the only one killed indoors. These women weren't just statistics. they were real people whose lives were tragically cut short, leaving behind families and communities shattered by grief. Yet their stories are often overshadowed by the legend of Jack the Ripper. Marianne Nichols once joked that she'd soon have enough money to get out of poverty. Instead, she became the first victim. Annie Chapman had dreams of moving to Australia to start anew. Elizabeth Stride spoke multiple languages and hoped to open a small business someday. Catherine Eddowes loved poetry and carried a notebook filled with verses. Mary Jane Kelly dreamed of becoming a singer. Each of these women had hopes and aspirations, cruelly extinguished by a faceless killer. When the murders began, panic spread through Whitechapel. Residents lived in constant fear, unsure if they would be next. Police launched one of the largest manhunts in history at the time, but they faced immense challenges. Forensic science was in its infancy, and there was no DNA testing or modern investigative techniques. Detectives relied on witness statements, sketches, and physical evidence, but little of it led to concrete answers. The investigation was further complicated by the sheer number of suspects and the lack of communication between police forces. Scotland Yard, responsible for central London, often clashed with the Metropolitan Police, which oversaw Whitechapel. This bureaucratic infighting hindered progress and allowed the killer to remain at large. Dozens of people were questioned, including local tradesmen, doctors, and even members of the royal family. One theory suggested that the murders were part of a larger conspiracy involving Prince Albert Victor, Duke of Clarence, and a supposed Freemason cover-up. Another pointed to Aaron Kosminski, a Polish barber with mental health issues who lived in Whitechapel. Montague John Druitt, a barrister who disappeared around the same time as the murders, was also considered a suspect. Francis Tumblety, an American quack doctor known for his misogyny, was arrested but later released due to lack of evidence. Despite these efforts, none could be definitively linked to the crimes. The frustration mounted as the body count rose, and the public demanded answers. The letters, hoaxes or clues? One of the most intriguing aspects of the case is the series of letters supposedly written by Jack the Ripper. Over 200 letters were sent to police and newspapers, many claiming to be from the killer. 3 stood out: the Dear Boss letter, the Saucy Jackie postcard, and the From Hell letter. These notes taunted authorities, promising more murders and including chilling details about the crimes. Some believe the letters were genuine, while others think they were hoaxes created by copycats or attention seekers. Either way, the letters added to the hysteria and kept the case in the headlines, fueling both fear and fascination. The Dear Boss letter, dated September 25, 1888, was addressed to the Central News Agency and contained phrases like, "I am down on whores and I shan't quit ripping them till I do get buckled." It ended with the infamous signature, Jack the Ripper. The Saucy Jackie postcard, sent shortly afterward, claimed responsibility for the double murder of Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes on September 30th. The From Hell letter, accompanied by half a human kidney preserved in wine, arrived in October. While some experts believe the letters were genuine, others argue they were planted to distract investigators or capitalize on the media frenzy. Theories and speculation. Over the years, countless theories have emerged about the true identity of Jack the Ripper. Some suspect he was a doctor or surgeon due to the precision of the mutilations. Others believe he was a local butcher, given his knowledge of anatomy and access to sharp tools. Popular suspects include Aaron Kosminski, a Polish barber with mental health issues, Montague John Druitt, a barrister who disappeared around the same time as the murders, and Francis Tumblety, an American quack doctor with a history of misogyny. There are also more outlandish theories, such as the idea that the killer was part of a royal conspiracy involving Prince Albert Victor, Duke of Clarence. Despite decades of research, no conclusive evidence has ever been found, keeping the mystery alive and sparking endless debate. Some theorists point to the possibility of multiple killers working together, while others suggest the murders may have been committed by someone with ties to occult practices. The lack of definitive proof allows imagination to run wild, leading to books, documentaries, and TV shows exploring every conceivable angle. For many, solving the case seems impossible after so much time has passed. Yet the enduring fascination with Jack the Ripper speaks to something deeper, a universal curiosity about the unknown and the unseen. He represents not just a murderer, but a symbol of fear itself, embodying the randomness and unpredictability of violence. Modern perspectives, advances in technology. Today, historians and criminologists continue to study the case using advanced technology. In recent years, DNA analysis has been attempted on surviving artifacts, such as a shawl found near one of the crime scenes. In 2019, a team of researchers claimed to have identified Aaron Kosminski as the killer based on mitochondrial DNA evidence extracted from the shawl. However, the results remain inconclusive and controversial, with critics questioning the reliability of the methods used. For many, solving the case seems impossible after so much time has passed. Yet the enduring fascination with Jack the Ripper speaks to something deeper, a universal curiosity about the unknown and the unseen. He represents not just a murderer, but a symbol of fear itself, embodying the randomness and unpredictability of violence. Cultural impact, from fear to fascination. The cultural impact of Jack the Ripper cannot be overstated. His story has inspired countless books, movies, TV shows, and tours of Whitechapel. From classic films like The Lodger to modern adaptations like Ripper Street, the legend continues to evolve, reflecting society's changing attitudes toward crime and justice. Tourists flock to London to walk the same streets where the murders took place, guided by storytellers eager to share the grisly details. Yet, amid all the fascination, it's important to remember the human cost of this tragedy. Behind the legend are real women whose lives were stolen, leaving behind families and communities forever scarred. By studying this case, we honor their memory and strive to prevent similar tragedies in the future. Jack the Ripper has become more than just a historical figure. He's a cultural icon. His image appears in everything from Halloween costumes to video games, often romanticized or sensationalized in ways that detract from the seriousness of his crimes. But beneath the surface lies a sobering truth. The fear and fascination surrounding Jack the Ripper are rooted in real suffering. He reminds us of the dangers of neglecting society's most vulnerable and the importance of addressing systemic issues like poverty and inequality. Closing thoughts. So what do you think? Who do you believe Jack the Ripper really was? Was he a lone madman, part of a larger conspiracy, or something else entirely? His identity may never be known, but the questions he raises about human nature, morality, and justice remain relevant today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more thrilling content. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and never stop seeking answers.